Good afternoon, and welcome to another of ChildLink's discussion program where we discuss a number of issues that affects women and even children and families in today's community. Today, I am pleased to welcome you. I am Tiana Jordan, ChildLink's Advocacy and Communications Officer, and this discussion falls under our Communities Responding in Emergencies project, which is funded by the Delegation of the European Union in Guyana. And today, our program will be focused on breaking barriers, investing in migrant women for accelerated progress. And of course, as you would know, we observed International Women's Day earlier this month, and this month is also Women's History Month, and thus this discussion focusing on women. And we have with us the founder of Orchid Foundation, one of ChildLink's partner, and of course two other women who would have benefited from training programs under the CRIE project. I want to say a special welcome to you, ladies. Good afternoon, and
Good
how are you
afternoon.
doing?
Fine, thank you.
I'm going to start with Miss Indra. Can you just tell me a bit about yourself and Orchid Foundations for persons who are not familiar with the organization? And, tell me a bit about the training program that these ladies would have been involved in.
Okay, good afternoon. I'm Andrew Constantine. Orchid Foundation is based in Parfit Harmony. Our mission is to empower individuals to be independent, both in life and skills training. How we achieve our mission is by educating and empowerment so that others can be independent, so that they can be their independent stakeholders. Um, One of the things that we collaborate with ChildLinK and we do various training. One of our training was parenting session one-on-one, where we go into communities to educate women how to go about and deal with their children, even their spouse. So one of the community that benefited from this program is Canal Number One. So here I have two wonderful ladies from Canal Number One, and they will be sharing their experience with the program.
Yes, can you just tell me a bit about yourself?
Hi, good afternoon. My name is Lorraine Daniels. I am living in Canal Number One. I am currently employed as a pathway part-time worker by the government, and I'm stationed at McGillivray Primary School. I am also the current chairperson of CPG Women's Group in Canal Number One, where the ChildLinK and the Orchid Foundation did the parenting class and other sessions with us.
And for persons who aren't familiar with CPG, can you just tell us a
That
bit
is
about
Community Policing Group in Canal Number One.
and what do you guys do?
It's a women's group, and where we encourage women to be empowered. Some of the activities that we do are community. Some example, if it have a week or it have a relative in the community that need help, we would reach out to them. It's about getting these women from a hammock into getting some activities done, or even if to socialize, or to getting a course done, getting something done. This is where the ChildLinK, Miss Indra and her team came to Canal Number One, where we had the parenting class, and through that organization, that session, we had a wonderful time. We had our first graduation last year. It was in March, the 26th of March. From there, the women in that organization, we move on to Zara Computer Center, where Miss Indra would have extend that link to us. So we had like about 15 women who did the beginner course in computer, and we had one male who went and did the computer class too. So we had a wonderful time. When it comes to parenting, the classes in parenting, that was like from basically what you would know, and when you're taught about something, that was a whole different. You would look at parenting at a different level, because in Canal Number One, it's a rural area, and a lot of people base on what their grandparent or their parent taught them. That is what they stick with. But when you actually get the teachers that actually came and did their session on it, something that we did was one of the things we did. It was a 6 weeks program, and we did the I Am Pledge. The I Am Pledge, this is something that I am beautiful, I am happy, I am healthy, Those are some of the stuff that we did with I Am Pledge. And these are things that we implement in our day to day life. Example, women from a rural area where you would say, you can't accomplish anything, or you just got to take your kids to school and come back home. And when you look at when we have the ChildLinK came into Canal Number One and told us there is so much more you can do rather than just sit home and do nothing.
Yeah, and that's why you're here today, to empower more women
I
on this
am, yes,
discussion. And
yes.
we also have with us Miss Acacia.
Yes. Good afternoon. My name is Miss Acacia Chase. I am a nursery teacher at Canal Number One Nursery School. And from the classes that we did with Miss Indra and ChildLinK, we have learned a lot. Growing up, we were accustomed to, oh, this is the way that parenting is supposed to be. And when they came and they enlightened us on these things, we realized that, oh, you know what, we can approach parenting in a different manner. And to add to what Mandy said about our CPG Women's Group, there are so many other things that you can learn. Let's say, for instance, you don't know to make something. Somebody that know may come and have a cooking class or some sewing class or something, so that we can empower other women in the group that may not know.
It's really great to hear. And you both would have had, in your line of work and so on, would have had encounters with migrants, whether it's women or children. And today's discussion, we're focusing on mainly the women. I want to hear, about some of the difficulties or challenges that you would observe that these women or children may face within the community.
Yes, so because of the language barrier in Canal Number One, there's not a much immigrants in Canal Number One, so it's easier to like pinpoint them. Due to a lack of they are not knowing like English, so it's hard to communicate with them. So what happened is that we would have the app on the phone so that they can speak and I can translate. I have helped a few myself as a community leader in Canal Number One, where they would seek employment or even basic necessity. And I would, whenever and however I can, even as an individual or on a group level, we do that already.
Just to add to what Mandy said, with the language barrier in the education wise, when the children come, a lot of them will come not speaking English. Some of them don't understand English. So there are times when you would need to translate it, as you said, with the Google Translate app. You would speak onto the phone and then it would translate and the child listen so they can understand. As well as some of the women that come with their children, they don't know to speak English. They don't understand English. So sometimes you have to like write a note or you use the same app to translate what you need to say to them.
And this has been very effective.
Yes.
Do you think there is anything else that could be done to, bridge this language barrier?
Well, I think that we can have like more, like in the schools, if we can have like Spanish teachers or teachers doing Spanish or even having like a English class for these migrants when they come.
It's really good. What about you?
Because of a lot of these migrants are afraid of if they speak out or they ask for help, they can be victimized by the public. I think yeah, more can be done to help them in that way, and a lot of them afraid immigration. I don't know if they where they get the facts from or how they got the information, but they feel as if they reach out, you're gonna question their living status or something.
And what about you, Miss Indra? You've had, you've been working with the migrants working in the community. So based on your experience, what are some of the challenges that these women would face?
One of the challenges is job, because I feel that they're being exploited, because we have presently now I have two children that come into the school and they don't know any English, but they're learning. We use the app also, and what have I noticed is that the mother, she always looking for a job somewhere. So when I find job for her, she works like 2 or 3 days, And then she quit. And when I asked her, she's like, the people work her and not paying her. I mean, that is unfair because at the end of the day, they have bills to pay just like me and you. So they work and they're not getting paid. And I think that we as human beings should pay somebody for their services, right? It doesn't matter if you're a migrant or local. We all deserve what we work for. We deserve our salary or income. So many days when I don't see the children in school, I will call to find out, right? And you will hear, oh, miss, I don't have money. I don't have things to eat. How can I send them to school? You know? So these are the difficulties that we're facing with migrants within the community. Parvati have a lot of migrants and they come and they go because the transportation cost is very expensive. From Parfit to Vredenhoop is $200 with the vehicle. Plus, you have to take the speedboat to go across, which is the next $100. Now, if a person have to travel from there to go some part in Georgetown, it's an extra $100 added to that, right? So people are looking. So I'm here seeking also that they have a lot of business people out there that they can establish business in Parfit Harmony because Parfit Harmony have a lot of land available, so they can come and start maybe factories in garment construction, maybe juice factory and all these things so that they can employ people. Now, I'm not only saying migrants, both the locals. So you create the employment within the community.
How do you think we
Just to add to what Miss Angel said, right? Even though there are some of these women that work and not get paid, there are some of them that would get paid, but then the business places will not be paying them what they will pay the local persons. And I think if you're doing the same job, you deserve to have the same wage, right?
That's right. So how do you think we can bring about this change within the business community?
Well, for me, as a as a free speaker, I will tell them face to face that if you want something to be flourish, be honest, and they cannot be exploiting people, working them and not paying them. I think that is unfair. There is dishonesty. Everybody deserve a better life.
I know you own a business. I want to hear from you.
Yes, so currently I have a pineapple jam business in Kanalama. It's a small business. And there is so much sometimes. This is something that I would like to go on a large scale, but due to the facility and the resources, I cannot. But as of now, I have my own little business. Example, if a migrant comes to work and you paid a normal domestic worker 3,000, 2,000, 5,000, depends on their service. Most of the time you would find somebody would even give them a half of what a local would get because they don't know the English and we just give them a little something to keep them going. And I think that is why a lot of them, they're scared to even interact with the public because they feel as if though if you're paying somebody $5,000 where they earn that money, they work for that money, and you pay the migrant $3,000, the language barrier is such a big thing that it could escalate into violence.
Yes, just to add to what Miss Angel and Lorraine said, with the working these migrants, some of them, when they see that okay, I'm not being paid the same wage that the other person is being paid, it will discourage them to go look for jobs. They will not want to go and look for jobs because they will feel like, oh, I'm being treated unfairly. I'm not being treated as equal to locals. So some of them would quit the job, they won't go look for a job, and most of the time you would find them staying by themselves.
Yeah, and another challenge also that migrants would face would be access to things like healthcare services. So, how can we, improve their access to healthcare services?
Well, for me, I'm not too sure about the health center, but the Orchid Foundation we collaborate with other stakeholders. Like, for example, the first Saturday of every month, we collaborate with Mercy Hospital, where they will use our facilities, and they come and have a medical outreach. They have it in at two locations, one in Westminster at the back part and one at the front part. So what happens is every other month, different locations. So, for example, the 1st of April, right? The first Saturday in April will be at my location, right? And there we have we have a Cuban doctors that is be working with us. So he speaks Spanish, right? And you will find that the migrants come and they benefit from that system, right? We offer the mobile clinic offer free medication, free blood pressure, free sugar testing, right? And if there's any referral, the doctor will give a referral to go to the public hospital, right? So they're benefiting from that outreach clinic. I'm not too sure if the health center within Parafit Army, if they have a Spanish speaking nurse in. But the last time I checked, there was no. But I'm not too sure if they have any now.
How can we, improve migrants' access to healthcare services within your community?
Well, my community, it's open to the public, and they can go visit there. It's Manram Memorial Health Center. It's on Anna Katrina, and it's open to the public.
Yes. At the health center there in Canal Number 1, I don't think there is any Spanish speaking nurse or doctor, but maybe the nurses there, the medics there, doctors there, they can utilize the same Google app that we utilize at school to better communicate with these migrants so they can have access to the healthcare.
Yeah, and I think that's something a lot of persons are not utilizing. I think they tend to forget about technology.
Yes.
Yes. Can you share some maybe success stories on persons you would have been able to assist, maybe migrants that you've come across? I know you said persons would come to you for help and so on.
Yeah, I did help a few families in Canal Number 1. So my number is a lot of people because I do a lot of community work. I am also a community worker. I have the CPG Women's Group. I'm in a lot of groups. So being somebody who born and grow in Canal, a lot of people know me too. So they would, example, like this one individual needed help for a job, and she said she's scared to even ask the locals for help because they was like, oh, the victimization. There being some of them. Some locals can be so nice, some locals can be not so nice. So when the individual reached out to me, I asked her for her number. She came, she visit, and we sit and we chat. However she speak, I could have understand. She knows English, a little bit. And then I would assist her, and I'll like, okay, I'll take your number. I'll get back to you as soon as I can get something. I made a few calls, and today she got a job. Then there was another migrant when Miss Indra reached out to me when she had the classes on migrant. The individual she was a bit scared. I don't know what I'm going to get myself into. So with the help of her husband and her mother-in-law, we got her on board, and she did the 2 days training with Miss Indra.
Did you know why she was scared?
Yes, one of the reasons she said she was scared of immigration. And she don't know what she's getting herself involved into.
And where are these persons today?
Both one of them have a job, and the other one, I think she started an online business.
I want to hear from you about your experience, specifically working with the migrant children.
Well, specifically working with the migrant children, it is very challenging because, for instance, I have a child in my class, and there's a child in the year 1 class. The child in my class, well, she's learning Spanish now a bit. Sorry, English a bit now. So she understands. But the year 1 child, he does not speak any English.
Oh.
He speaks Spanish alone, so it's difficult for the teacher to understand what he wants or what he's saying, right? So it is very, very challenging to work with the children, especially when they don't understand any English at all.
So how was there anyone that has been learning English, that you've taught,
Yes,
that
the
their English has improved?
yes, the child in my class, because she's there for about almost a year now. So now she's learning English because she would come, let's say, for instance, if she want to go to use the washroom, she knows to say she want to go to use the washroom, or if she want water, she knows to say it, but not everything she can communicate to you in English.
Wow, Miss Indra, I want to hear from you
Well,
now.
I have two migrant children coming to school, and they can speak the English because remember, children pick up faster than adult.
Yeah, that's right.
So, the first mock exam, one is in grade 6. The first mock exam, she when I turn up, well, we normally will write the mock exam at the primary school, the government school. So when we go, I didn't see she turn up. So when I called the mother said, Miss Indra, I don't think she can do this exam, that she doesn't know English. I said, but your child read English every day in school and she talks. She said, yes, but I believe that she can speak the English. I said, but you don't know to speak English. How do you know she don't know? Because the mother doesn't know to speak any English. She used the Google app, and she didn't send that child to the common entrance. Anyhow, well, I have a staff that speaks Spanish. I told her the second mock exam, which they wrote last week, I said, if she doesn't come, I'm going to bring the immigration officer to her house, because I had to threaten her, because the child can do so much, but she doesn't have the trust in the child. I don't know. Some
Yeah.
parents say the child can't do certain things, you know. So I saw the child came out to write the mock exam, and the child said, Miss, it was easy.
Wow.
It was easy. I said, did you tell your mommy? She said, Mommy, you want to listen. So I just leave it like that. But our next challenge is I went to this community, Cane Grove, and there I met 69 person migrants, and all of them are illegal. The 69 first families, individual, they include children also, and I think it's 30 something of them living in a small house, right? The person that owns the house, when I found out, the person that owns the house have a farm, because Cane Grove have farming. It's a farming community, and he will get these people working whole day and whole night and not paying them a single cent. When I asked why, he said because they're living in a free house. So I said, come on, these people need to eat, so where are they going to get money to buy their food? They said, well, where are they going to get money to pay rent? So some people are just illiterate. You understand? They don't think that, okay, I'm going to get a person working from, let me say, 8 hours a day. That person need, it doesn't matter if you give that person a free house to live in. Where is that person is going to get a meal? You understand? I have all these children there, to feed. So what I've noticed also, that people within the community will give like vegetable, like bora, or whatever, and then you will see that the men there will go fishing just to have a meal. So I asked him, I said, why don't you just move? Right? They said, Miss Indra, where are we going to move and go? The house rent are so sky high. So they preferred being there working just to have a roof over their head, and people will give them a meal a day.
There are so many challenges that these migrants would face, and especially women and so on. And I think it all comes back to people's perception of these migrants. They don't know them. They don't take the opportunity to get to know them, and so on. But you've been working. You all have had encounters with them, work with them, and so on. What more can be done to change people's perception about these migrants living here in Guyana?
What more? Well, I will always go back to my days of upbringing, when I tell them there was a time when Guyanese had to flee and go to different parts of this world, right? Because we went away, and I grew up in Suriname, and that was a language barrier. You understand? But the Surinamis never treated us like that, how we are treating people. And many of us still migrating from this country going to the USA. But the difference with USA and Canada, they speak English, right? And I'm 100% sure, let me don't say 100%, 99% sure that the American and the Canadian would not treat our Guyanese the way we are treating people. You understand? And I think that we need to be educated concerning that. All human beings have the right to live, right? We have our own opinion, so table is turned. I learned something. There is nothing new under the sun. We might be happy today, and tomorrow we don't know what's going to be the outcome.
What about you, Miss Lorraine?
For me, I've get to know some of them, these migrants, and they're wonderful people. A small act of kindness, how are you? They might not understand it. Even a smile or how is your day going? They understand, even though we might say it's a language barrier, they do understand some form of English. So being nice to somebody, that's all it takes. And if you can lend a helping hand, go ahead and do it.
Yes, for me, I think it all comes down to having an open mind, to seeing these migrants as human beings just like ourselves, so that, even though we're having this language barrier, there is some form of communication that they can understand. Even if you just pass them by the way and you smile at them, well, they would open up more to you, I think. And for instance, let's say you're traveling, because I was traveling a day to go in to Canal, and there was this lady that caught the car. She doesn't know any English, so she can't communicate where she's going. So it all comes down to having an open mind. If the driver didn't have an open mind to say okay, or have patience with her to say okay, you're going to point or communicate in some form to tell me where you're going, then he might have put her off, because some of the drivers are like that, right? So it all comes down to having an open mind.
Yeah, that's really good. And there's Orchid Foundation that is doing work with the migrant community under the CRIE project with ChildLinK. What else? And there are also other community-based organizations out there, but their work might not necessarily be focused on migrants. How more can we get them involved? To work with these migrant community to promote more inclusivity, and not only community-based organizations, but maybe get other community leaders like faith-based leaders and so on involved to promote inclusivity.
It's about, again, extending, getting to know the migrants. It's a small act. That's from where you could start from the beginning, getting to know them. You don't need a lot of information. Just go and do visitation, see how they're living, wherever help they need. And you start from you start from the foundation, getting to know your migrants, getting to know what is it that they need, how can we help.
Miss Indra?
Well, I will add to her is that most of these faith-based organizations, I'm not too sure if they reach out to the migrants, because I don't see a lot of migrants going to churches. However, I'm from the Latter-day Saints Church, and I know that we helped a lot of migrants, and they used to be coming to the church, because what happened within the church, we have these missionaries that speak Spanish.
Mm-hmm.
So they will communicate. And at one time we had a set of migrants that comes to church, and even to this day we still keep communication with them. One of the migrants that used to be attending the church, he got married to one of our local Guyanese woman, he had 2 children, and he got married, and from there now he started to encourage other migrants to start going to, not necessarily the Latter-day Saints, but other churches. But I'm not too sure if other churches have English speaking in the church for them to understand, like translation. but I do know the Latter-day Saints have, right? So my thing is that reach out to them, you know, find out, because I remember sometime they will come and people recommend them to come to the Orchid Foundation. Go, oh, they don't say the Orchid Foundation, go to Indra. They come, they want spoon, plate, cup, and I must thank those that see this program, that heard me on the radio, likewise television. Yesterday I received a suitcase with bedspread and some clothing to give to migrants. So anybody out there that need bedspread, I have. They're used, some are brand new. I have, so you just contact me, you can come and uplift it. If they need grocery, and so what we do, we try to help them. I'm not going to say, do an open announcement and say that we distributing grocery, and next the whole the whole country at my organization. No. If we, and you know what? Not because you come in, we give it to you. We analyze the situation, we interview you, and see how we can place you in job, place your children in school, and see how we can help.
Yeah, I like that you mentioned that. And how can persons contact?
Okay, my telephone number is 670-0643. It's also on WhatsApp, the same number. And my email is constantineindra83@gmail.com.
Do you have like a Facebook page for Orchid
I
Foundation?
have a Facebook page, but not really. The Orchid Foundation, I do have a page, but because of my schedule working, I don't really have time, and I'm not a young person. So it gives me some difficulties to manage the page. So you can get all the details also on my account, Vasilia Indra Constantine. You can add me.
Do you have a contact number that you
Yes,
would share with persons? So
yes, my contact number is 655 1963. Anybody call to ask for Lorraine or Mandy. The CPG Women's Group in Canal Number 1, we have a Facebook page that is active. So that is CPG Women's Group, and you just check on the page and you would find all of our information there. And it's open to anyone.
Yes, and on that note, I want to hear, what message would you like to leave with the women, especially the migrant women here today?
Feel free to open up, be open minded, that you can ask for help. It's okay to ask for help. And to the locals also, if you ever see anyone in need, it could be a local, it could be a migrant, extend a helping hand.
Ms. Acacia?
Yes, I would just like to encourage both locals and migrants alike to just have an open mind and to not be afraid to ask for help. Someone will help you.
And Ms. Indra, what message would you like to leave with the women today?
Well, my last message is always be, if you want the world to change, you have to be the change first, so that others will see and follow you. So I'll encourage people to always have a positive mindset and not to discriminate, and let's live in unity.
Thank you very much, and I want to thank each of you for taking the time out of, I know you're very busy women, so thank you for being here and being a part of this afternoon's discussion. I look forward to really getting to know each of you. Well, I know Miss Indra,
Yes.
and Miss Indra, want to say continue doing the good work you've been doing. I know the CRIE project is coming to an end, but you're gonna continue your work.
Yes.
You're giving back your service to persons out there, and I want to thank persons for tuning into our discussion today. And of course, our discussion was a part of our Communities Responding in Emergencies project, which is funded by the Delegation of the European Union in Guyana. I am Tiana Jordan, and do enjoy the rest of your evening.
Thank you.
Thank you.